Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Need to Know channel. The channel about the things that you need to know. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to press the like button and the notification button below. Today we're going to be speaking about Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a landlocked country in West Africa, known for its diverse culture, history, and geographical landscapes. It shares borders with 6 countries: Mali to the north, Niger to the east, Benin to the southeast, Togo and Ghana to the south, and Côte d'Ivoire to the southwest. The capital city of Burkina Faso is Ouagadougou, often called Ouga, with a climate that is generally hot and dry, with the rainy season from June to September. This is the ideal weather for agriculture, which is the backbone of this country. Burkina Faso's strategic location places it at the crossroad of trade routes and cultural exchanges. Now, let's get into the history of Burkina Faso. The earliest known people to inhabit Burkina Faso and call the land their home are the Bobo, the Lobi, and the Kurunsi, who still live here as minorities. The most numerous ethnic groups are the Mossi, who arrived on horseback around the 15th century and dominated the land for centuries. They were later taken over by the French, who then made it part of their colonial empire, known as Upheaval in 1919. The country then gained independence on August 5th, 1960. President Thomas Sankara then renamed the country to Burkina Faso, meaning the land of the upright people, in their local language. In this next segment, we'll speak about Burkina Faso's political situation. We'll begin this conversation with President Damiba. In January 2022, a military coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Henry Damiba overthrew the civilian government of President Rocher Kabore, who was elected in 2015 and re-elected in 2020 to replace President Michel Kafondo, who led a transitional government following the 2014 popular revolution that ousted Blaise Compaoré. By the way, Blaise Compaoré ruled Burkina Faso for 27 years after taking power in 1987's bloody coup that claimed the life of revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara, a prominent revolutionary leader, Sankara is remembered for his progressive policies, particularly in health, education, and women's rights. Unfortunately, he was assassinated in 1987, which was marked as a significant turning point for the country's history. Remember this name, because we will come back to it. When Damiba took power, he cited that Rocher Kabore, the president at that time's inability to curb the Islamic insurgents plaguing Burkina Faso. Soon after taking power, he started the NPSR and vowed to reconquer the country by fighting the jihadists. Captain Ibrahim Traoré joined the NPSR. Soon after Captain Ibrahim Traoré joined, President Damiba promoted Ibrahim to become the head of artillery in the Kaya regiment. But little did Damiba know that this would be the beginning of his downfall. Before we continue with the video, please don't forget to subscribe, press the like button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below. We would love to hear your feedback on this specific topic. During the rule of President Damiba, there was a lot of discontent growing amongst the troops, mainly because they were facing logistical difficulties and were suffering heavy losses. President Damiba and his air-conditioned officers were mostly in the capital city in their comfortable offices and were easily accused of being out of touch with reality. Now, let's speak about the man himself, Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim Traoré was born in 1988 in Bondoukoui in the Mohon province of Burkina Faso. He attended primary school in his hometown and secondary school in Bono Dioulasso, the second largest city in Burkina Faso. Unlike most of his predecessors, he had a civilian background before joining the army. After secondary school, he went to go study geology at the Joseph Kizerbo University, which is in the capital city. He was actually the valedictorian of his class, but then chose to join the army, which subsequently means he didn't complete his university studies. In 2009, Ibrahim Traoré joined the George Namouni Military Academy, which he graduated in 2012 and joined the Artillery Regiment of Kaya, and 2 years later was promoted as a lieutenant. He really impressed his supervisor and was later sent for an anti-aircraft training in Morocco. His breakthrough came in 2014 when he was deployed to Mali as a soldier under the United Nations peacekeeping mission. This is where he showed extreme bravery in the face of complex attacks, fighting the jihadists and ethnic insurgents in the northern Timbuktu region. This was in 2018. The following year, he participated in a military operation codenamed Operation Otopono in the east of Burkina Faso for 7 months. He also served in the detachment in the northern Sahel region at the so-called three-border region of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, being on the front line against jihadist groups. After all the bravery he showed fighting the jihadists and the ethnic insurgents, he was promoted to captain in 2020. In this next segment, we're going to speak about how Traoré took power. Captain Ibrahim Traoré went to Ouagadougou to speak with President Damiba. He asked for an audience with the president but never received an answer. Traoré and some officers of his generation decided to take action. At dawn on the 3rd of September, gunfire rang out in Ouagadougou. It was around 8 p.m. local time when a military man in a bulletproof and a red beret was surrounded by hooded men appearing on the Burkina Broadcasting Corporation, also known as the RTB. In this broadcast, it was announced that Ibrahim Traoré would take power over the patriotic movement for safeguarding and restoration. They were overthrowing Lieutenant Colonel Henry Damiba. In only 48 hours of the broadcast, Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his men showed that they are not afraid of the backlash they will receive. On the 1st of October, Traoré and his officers went on national television to accuse Damiba of taking refuge in the French military base to prepare a counter-offensive. Given the condition of the Burkina Faso people, this fueled an anti-French sentiment. This announcement was a bombshell. Thousands of demonstrators took to the streets and attacked the French embassy and the French Institute. This turned into a popular resurrection to save the country from an alleged plot by Henry Damiba, supported by the French. During the night, several army forces, including the Air Force and Special Forces, switched to Captain Ibrahim Traoré's camp. The next morning, the case was heard and President Damiba was forced to resign. At just 34 years old, Captain Ibrahim Traoré was installed as the transitional president of Burkina Faso. You're probably asking yourself, what happened after he became president? Ever since Ibrahim Traoré took power of Burkina Faso, there has been hundreds of demonstrations from civilians in Ouagadougou demanding less presence of the French military. In January 2023, Burkina Faso gave the French 1 month to draw its troops. 1 month later, in February 2023, the two countries, France and Burkina Faso, officially marked the end of the French military operations in the West African nation. All of this fueled speculations that Burkina Faso had deepened security ties with Russia, like the neighboring country, Mali, where Russian mercenaries were operating on a full scale. In August of 2023, President Ibrahim held a talk with Russian delegations that included discussions on a possible military cooperation. This was just before Traoré and the Russian President Vladimir Putin met at the Russian Africa Summit that was held in St. Petersburg in July of the same year. Ibrahim Traoré's speech at the Russia-Africa Summit earned him respect, with some people calling him Sankara incarnate, meaning the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara. If you have been reading the headlines recently, you have noticed the changes that have been happening in Burkina Faso ever since Ibrahim Traoré took over. Recently, Burkina Faso has made a bold and historic achievement by paying 3,000 billion FCFA, approximately 4.79 billion USD in domestic debt since the start of 2014. This announcement was made by the Prime Minister during the 21st National government private sector meeting held in Bobo Dioulasso in Cameroon on the 22nd of November 23 to 24. President Ibrahim Traoré understands the fundamental truths that the Western nations, particularly the United States, will never default on their debts because their debts are denominated in their own currencies, which they can print at their own will. In contrast, African nations are forced to repay debt in foreign currency, creating a perpetual dependence on the West. Recently, Burkina Faso also nationalized 2 gold mines. These 2 mines were owned by a British mining company and reached a deal with Burkina Faso to nationalize the 2 gold mines for 80 million USDs, which the London-based Endeavour Mining had planned to sell last year to Lilium Mining, owned by an American, for more than 300 million USD. Burkina Faso also revised its mining code in 2023 to earn more royalties from mining companies following a decline in the gold output due to a long-running security crisis, which forced at least 5 mines to shut down. Burkina Faso recently implemented a ban on textile imports for certain uniforms, including those for police and military personnel. The initiative is part of a broader effort to revive its domestic textile industry and reduce reliance on foreign imports. This move also aligns with the ideals of the late revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara, who championed self-reliance and the use of local resources to promote economic and cultural independence. The government has mandated the use of locally produced fabrics for school uniforms and established a production facility to meet the demand. This initiative is expected to boost local textile production, create jobs, and foster skill development while strengthening the national identity and pride through the use of traditional fabrics. Burkina Faso has also formed a promising partnership with an Ethiopian engineering and industrial firm. This collaboration focuses on developing technical and vocational training for Burkinabe youth while advancing the country's industrial capacity. The initiative aims to equip young people with skills to manufacture tools and machinery locally, reducing reliance on imports and fostering self-sufficiency. This partnership is expected to create skilled jobs and strengthen Burkina Faso's industrial and agricultural production. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso is also spearheading the construction of a state-of-the-art tomato processing plant in Bobo Dioulasso. This 8.1 million USD project aims to address the nation's significant post-harvest losses, as nearly 30% of the annual 290,000 tons of tomatoes are wasted due to insufficient processing and storage facilities. The plant will produce tomato paste, puree, and sauces, significantly reducing the reliance on costly imports and adding value to the local agricultural products. Once operational, the facility is expected to process 5 tons of tomatoes per hour and create 100 direct jobs alongside over 5,000 indirect employment opportunities. The initiative is part of a broader push for agricultural and economic self-sufficiency, demonstrating Traore's focus on sustainable development and local empowerment. This specific plant will be completed in 4 weeks' time from when this video is recorded. The president of Burkina Faso also focuses on agriculture. President Ibrahim Traoré has introduced a transformative initiative to support the country's agricultural sector. As part of the efforts to ensure food security and reduce dependence on imports, the government has allocated over 78 billion CFA francs for agricultural equipment and supplies. This includes distributing 400 tractors to farmers earlier this year, with plans to provide an additional 500 tractors in the coming months. These tractors are offered for free to assist farmers in plowing their fields during the rainy season. The program also incorporates subsidies on seeds and fertilizers to boost productivity, aiming to modernize agriculture and achieve self-sufficiency. Traore has emphasized the importance of youth engagement in agriculture, encouraging them to form cooperatives to fully benefit from this government support. This initiative reflects a broader strategy to make agriculture a cornerstone of Burkina Faso's economic and social development. In conclusion, Burkina Faso is undergoing a period of significant transformation under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré. Key developments include efforts to strengthen national sovereignty, industrialize the economy, and reduce dependence on external powers. The government has launched initiatives to modernize agriculture, revive local industries like textile production, and build infrastructure such as tomato processing plants. These measures aim to combat poverty, create jobs, and promote self-sufficiency. Despite these ambitious reforms, Burkina Faso faces ongoing challenges including jihadist insurgents, economic instability, and the complexity of scaling new industries and infrastructure. However, the government's focus on empowering the youth, leveraging local resources, and fostering national unity demonstrates a commitment to long-term development and resilience. Thank you so much for watching another episode with the Need to Know channel. Please don't forget to press the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for all the new episodes and news that we will be dropping.